Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and taking some time out of your Wednesday to talk about Button Up. I will probably just give it a few seconds for more people to join. I realize we started 1 minute late, so thanks for your patience. As people are joining, if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat your name and your affiliation. We realize this is a webinar and not a meeting like it normally is, so we can't see all of your beautiful faces. So when you're interacting, you can interact in the chat and share your questions there and any comments. And again, putting your name and affiliation would be great. I'm going to share my screen too. Joey, can you see that? Awesome. I'm realizing I can't see the chat, so I don't know if people are putting in their name and affiliation. If you are, thank you. See a lot of familiar names in the chat. Welcome, everyone. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. We have a fair amount of content to cover. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining us for this webinar and taking some time out of your Wednesday to talk about Button Up. This is particularly for partners to share all the details of the 2023 campaign. I'm Bekah Kuster. I'm a community engagement manager at Efficiency Vermont and help to lead the Button Up campaign. And I'm very happy to have a fabulous partner and co-host, Johanna Miller from the Vermont Energy and Climate Action Network and Vermont Natural Resources Council with us today. Between the two organizations, I think we've been co-hosting this for several years at this point. So thanks, Joey, for being here again. Before we kind of get into content, I want to acknowledge a few things. One, that Vermont has had a really challenging summer with the recent flooding. So first, I hope that everyone is safe, and for folks that were hit, that recovery is going as best as it can be. It is really beautiful, although I wish it was under different circumstances, to see Vermonters stepping up and supporting their neighbors. That's one of the reasons that I love Vermont so much and have stayed here all these years. So it's nice to see that, but also just acknowledging this is a really challenging time. And this campaign has kind of a fresh urgency around it, just because we know that the heating season is coming up and folks are really thinking about how they quickly weatherize and replace heating systems as winter is fast approaching. So I feel like this just has a different urgency and relevance than maybe it has in previous years. We're not going to be getting too much into flood recovery in this webinar because I want to make sure we really cover the details of the 2023 campaign. But I do want to note that we are hosting a flood recovery webinar tomorrow at 5 p.m. To answer some of those common questions about rebuilding your home or small business after flooding. We're going to have some of our energy experts on the call to discuss things like drying out, rebuilding for mold resistance, promoting a healthy home and indoor environment after a flood. So for folks that are kind of in the midst of recovery right now, that'll be a really relevant webinar. And one of my colleagues can put in the chat the link to register there. And also, I know we're getting, a lot of questions about flood recovery funding. And, I think a lot of folks are aware that Efficiency Vermont received approval to redirect $10 million of funding to help flood impacted Vermonters rebuild and recover after the flood. And just want to note that we're getting a lot of questions, which is great, but the program is really still being developed, and we'll have a lot more information later this month, and the funding will become available in September. So maybe hold your questions for that for now, but we will make sure to keep everyone informed. I recommend that folks sign up for our newsletter where we can share more information with folks there. And if you're a partner, you're getting our partner newsletters hopefully as well. And I'll also just have, Anna, if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat, the link to the current flood resources that we have on our website as well, and that has the link to register for tomorrow's webinar as well. Okay, with that, moving on, I want to share the quick agenda for today. I'm going to shortly turn it over to Joey to kind of kick off this conversation and provide a kind of high-level framing for the importance of weatherization and more so just efficiency in meeting our climate mandates. Then we're going to talk and some other benefits of weatherization. Then we're going to talk about, okay, actually, how can people weatherize? What are those weatherization programs? Highlighting some increased incentives, and then getting into the Button Up campaign. Obviously, a refresher for a lot of folks, but what is the campaign? A quick look back at the 2022 campaign, and then spend the rest of the time going through this year's campaign and wrapping up with Q&A. So with that, Joey, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks, Bekah, and thank you to everyone for joining us today, and for more so all the work that you have been doing in your communities and ideally will continue to do. Deep appreciation for it, and just wanting to start first too by echoing Bekah's sentiment that, really hoping that you and yours and your community, wherever you are doing as well as possible. What devastating, climate exacerbated impacts we're bearing, and it's really deeply impacting so many people. And I think the hope now is to help people rebuild and recover with greater resilience, and ideally with access to and the opportunity to make investments in cleaner heat, cleaner technology, to set them and Vermont up for the future in a climate changed world. And so I'm going to be very quick, but this is going to be a little bit redundant for most of you, but the importance of weatherization and meeting our climate commitments. We all know that in 2020, thankfully, the state of Vermont committed to doing our part to reduce planet warming pollution. We have pretty ambitious targets to meet, and those targets are set by the science. The world's leading climate scientists have been saying for a very, very long time that we have to dramatically cut carbon pollution. And so making sure that we do that through efficiency as a primary and foremost strategy is really critical. So next slide, please. Or, can I do it, Bekah? I'll just, okay. So,
are you at the right slide?
Yep, this is great.
Okay.
So,
sorry.
and just again, underscoring, as I think we all know, the importance of the thermal sector, how we heat our buildings in the state of Vermont, and meeting those climate targets is really significant. The thermal sector is about a third of the pollution that we collectively emit in the state of Vermont. And yes, as people may be aware that in 2020, for the first time potentially I think ever, in the latest greenhouse gas emissions inventory, the thermal sector was slightly higher in emissions than the transportation sector, largely obviously because the pandemic hit and people were staying in place. But the thermal sector is a really important one to tackle, and weatherization and efficiency are really central to that. And so that's why this campaign is so important and so exciting. Next slide, please. And as you'll see in this slide, many of you may have seen this before, and you'll just flagging for you that this is the Energy Action Network's annual progress report summary and data, and which they'll be coming out with a new annual progress report in September. But what this shows here in the heating sector and weatherization is the important role that weatherization plays, again, in meeting our climate commitments and helping people stay warm in more clean, healthy, planet considerate ways. So the targets, that are set, we really need to achieve is something in the order of 69,000 homes weatherized by 2025 and 120,000 homes weatherized by 2030. So we have ambitious, I say necessarily ambitious targets, with many benefits of meeting those targets. And thankfully, we're going to talk a little bit about this more and other opportunities down the road. The support of new incentive programs like the 10 million that Bekah just mentioned, existing state incentive programs and utility programs, and the Inflation Reduction Act and all the opportunities that new federal program will offer. Next slide, please, Bekah. And I think we all know this. There are so many benefits to buttoning up, but I really do think it's incredibly important to underscore that, we have not only an obligation to do our part when it comes to cutting carbon pollution, but we also have a massive opportunity because there are so many benefits that making our homes more energy efficient and resilient offer, saving money, significantly cutting down the costs of heating our homes, weatherizing, increasing the comfort and the health of our homes so that people are living in, staying warm and doing so in a more healthy way, saving energy, which relates to cutting climate pollution. So there's a tremendous importance to focus on weatherization. And this has been such an important campaign for many, many years now with really important partners, many of whom I see on this call, leaders at the local level and town energy committees and our utilities and beyond. So you are such important partners in the progress we have to be making. And I think the 2023 button-up campaign has increased import and necessary focus as we really work together to collectively rebuild, recover, and rewire to a cleaner electric, I hope, future and a far more efficient future. So I'm going to turn it over to Bekah to get into the details of this campaign, and I really look forward to working with all of you to support our fellow Vermonters in this tender moment and also do what we can to maximize the opportunity of weatherizing our homes and transitioning to a cleaner energy future as we so need to do. So Bekah, back to you.
Thank you, Joey. That was just a perfect introduction to this conversation and really just good context. Shifting gears a tiny bit, but definitely want to highlight the weatherization programs that are available for people to take advantage of, in particular because I put an asterisk next to the home performance program, but those incentives have recently increased too. So just want to highlight that for income eligible folks, they can take advantage of the weatherization assistance program, which is administered by Vermont's 5 community action agencies, which I see several of you are on the call today. So if folks have specific questions about that, I might call on them to put some answers in the chat. For folks who don't qualify for that program, can take advantage of other comprehensive programs like our Home Performance with Energy Star program, which I can share about a little bit in just the next slide. And then for Vermont gas customers, which really they serve the northwestern part of the state and Chittenden, parts of Addison and Franklin County, they also have a comprehensive weatherization program for their customers as well. For folks who might not be able to take on a comprehensive weatherization project right now and want to do some small projects around their house, they can take advantage of the do-it-yourself weatherization program. So those are projects like weather stripping around your doors and windows, insulating pipes, and folks can receive money back on the materials for those projects. I wanted to highlight the home energy assessments because although it's not necessarily a weatherization program in itself, it is very weatherization adjacent and is a really good first step for people to take if they're not entirely sure where to start or what energy saving opportunities lie in their home. So we have a virtual home energy visit where folks can talk with one of our energy experts and they can assess their home and identify some energy saving opportunities. And I know that Vermont gas customers also can take advantage of a home energy evaluation as well. And those are both free services. So that's what we're talking about when we're saying, how can people actually button up? So hopefully some people are aware, but really excited to announce that as of August 1st, the home performance with Energy Star rebates have increased. So when folks work with one of our Efficiency Excellence Network contractors to do a comprehensive weatherization project, they can now receive 75% of project costs back up to $4,000, which is doubles from the previous $2,000, and income eligible residents can receive 75% of project costs back up to $9,500. So really excited and know that this will make weatherization more accessible for folks who might have had some barriers in the past. So I feel like that was a long introduction to now talk about the actual button-up campaign, but why we're all here today. This is probably a refresher for a lot of folks. I know that many people have been partners for several years, but as a reminder, Button Up is Vermont's annual campaign to help Vermont residents prepare for winter. And maybe I'll even put in summer because we know that weatherization is a year can make your home comfortable year round. It's not just for making you warmer in the winter, but also cooler in the summer. It's really a community-based public outreach campaign to help Vermonters reduce their heating and cooling costs. It's sponsored and facilitated by us at Efficiency Vermont, but really supported by statewide partners, including our utilities, community action agencies, town energy committees, regional planning commissions, all the folks here and more. I want to briefly just touch on the 2022 campaign. I know a lot of folks on this call were involved in last year's campaign and just wanted to highlight all of the great successes. We had a great number of participating communities. Those were our town energy committees. We hosted 4 live Weatherization Wednesday webinars that had record attendance. Efficiency Vermont carried out a multi-channel media campaign. You might have seen the TV ad with the button up there. Oh yeah, I'm on the wrong side. And partners really stepped up and hosted events across the entire state that had great attendance and people just really engaged in. There were 150 virtual home energy visit signups, which to me really indicates that folks were taking that first step, which is really exciting to see. And also really exciting was that the state got really involved in last year's campaign, Governor Scott featured Button Up at a weekly press event and really integrated the campaign and brand into the state website. So it was really nice to have that synergy there. So last year we were able to film a video highlighting the campaign and really just all the different partners that make it possible and really just the impact of the campaign. So I want to share that now. Hopefully everyone can hear it, and maybe Joey, just give me a thumbs up if you can.
No noise.
No noise? Oh no, okay. Bear with me 1 second. I can see if I can people see me messing with my audio settings right now. All right, we're gonna try something different. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and see if I can open it on YouTube instead of through the slideshow and see if that works. So sorry, guys. Of course, there has to be like one snafu that happens during the webinar.
Always.
Always. Makes it exciting. How about now? Lots of content. Okay, I'm reading chat now. Anna, I'm wondering if someone else might be able to pull up the video and share it, since for some reason it looks like my
Can you drop it in
audio
the
is.
chat? I can try.
Sure. Putting it in the chat now.
Hang on.
Oh, well, I heard that, so that might be a good sign.
I just need to be able to share my screen, which I will do now.
Is it possible? Are you able to do that?
Thing, or do I got to go down
See it?
to 8 people at this table to make sure I've turned over the stone to get financing? And like many people, you find out you don't even come close to qualify.
These are my neighbors up here in the Northeast Kingdom. Some of them really struggling with basic needs, shelter, healthy home situations.
Figure I'd ask if we've had any insight that does not involve me needing to replace the window. I live in a building that was built, I believe, in the 1790s. It's just been one thing after another. I installed a heat pump and then the window wouldn't close. So heating my home for the winter has become a little bit of a challenge.
It's hard for people, especially older Vermonters, to decide if they really want to make some of the more sizable investments to make their homes more efficient when faced with a lot of other pressing concerns, medications, healthcare, things like that.
We went into a home of a woman not too long ago. She's raising her grandson on her own. She shared that she has actually been trying to ration her insulin and trying to decide whether or not to buy food or keep her house warm.
We talked about get a grant, get somebody to look at that.
Well, that would be either Janice or myself or both of us.
Do I have enough money to heat my home? Do I have enough money to put food on the table? Do I have health insurance? Can I afford to send my kid to daycare so that I can go back to work? All of those things are individual factors that go into every family's discussions about what their priorities are and frankly, what their basic needs are.
To make sure that people are doing what they can to save energy and to weatherize their homes and other things that are so important to the state.
Energy burden is really high in the Northeast Kingdom.
Climate change is a real near and present danger. We're seeing much hotter summers, much more powerful storms. The normal Vermont seasonal experience has changed.
The biggest driver of carbon emissions is transportation, vehicles and so forth. But the second largest is in heating your homes.
Everything is at stake. The working landscape in Vermont is already under threat because of climate change.
We all care about our children's generation and what they're going to be left with. And if they're left with a host of problems that they can't fix because it's too late, then we failed them.
We need an energy economy that serves us and not the wealthy few.
I've always been a big fan of weatherization because it's a win-win. And it's difficult to have those conversations because not everyone is a believer. So you have to take a different approach. You need to provide incentives. You need to give them reasons to do what you'd like them to do, and then give them the opportunity to do the right thing.
If anyone can swing a hammer or have a screwdriver, you can probably easily apply a lot of these things and make a great difference in your house.
The button up effort is a great statewide effort. I'm really impressed by the canvassing that they do, especially this time of year when people, it's like on the forefront of people's minds.
So Button Up Vermont really, I think, is geared towards existing homeowners who are looking for solutions and maybe, don't quite know where to start. It could be just simple, weather stripping around doors. It could be, window film in the winter on the windows.
It's a great campaign for being able to raise awareness around home energy related issues, weatherization, and being able to promote do-it-yourself projects that basically anybody can do by stopping at their local hardware store, picking up some spray foam, picking up some weather stripping, picking up a low flow shower head to be able to make their home more comfortable and reduce their energy costs.
The first winter, it became very apparent that we were going to have difficulty affording oil. This was an 1808 farmhouse.
Our housing stock is some of the oldest housing stock in the country. A lot of it was built before insulation was really a thing, or it was really basic.
So Button Up gave us some direction what to do. A lot of it was we were able to do it ourselves, and we saved quite a bit of money.
Yeah, full house here in 201. That's not anything. South Burlington has had a very active energy committee for about a decade, promoting things like this year's Button Up campaign. We've served in an advisory capacity, helping shape policies, as well as boots on the ground for being able to just promote things that we're very passionate about.
I'm an energy planner with Northeastern Vermont Development Association, which is our regional planning commission. And we are working with a lot of fantastic partners to get people coming out and thinking about how weatherization can be affordable and accessible to folks across Vermont, but also in the Northeast Kingdom, where we spend a lot of money on energy.
It takes a coalition of individuals that bring a variety of different skill sets, perspectives, resources in order to solve something as big a problem as climate change and work towards moving us as a state towards a more sustainable energy economy.
We can help you understand sort of what your opportunities might be, dig deeper, see what incentives there might be to make that happen, what's coming down the pike with some of the federal dollars, all those things. Starts with a conversation.
And I think the weatherization program is an example of something that everyone can unite behind. Financially, for some, it's essential, but for others, it's doing the right thing for the planet.
This is just the beginning of hopefully many steps I'll be taking.
Thanks, Joey, for troubleshooting and getting that up.
Absolutely.
I think you can stop sharing and I'll reshare my screen. Folks see that? Oh, now it's playing for me again. I just love that video. I was so happy that we were able to capture that and see a lot of partners who are on today's call also featured in that video. So thanks to everyone who participated last year as well. And it makes me just excited again to do it this year. So getting into the 2023 campaign, we have some specific goals for this year's campaign. One is really to expand access and maximize our impact, really making participation for partners a lot easier and improving efficiency and communication so that you guys can have a greater impact in your communities. And then also want to highlight those enhanced incentives, especially with the comprehensive weatherization programs. Obviously, Button Up is great because it's for folks at any point in their efficiency journey or weatherization journey, from simple DIY projects to more comprehensive projects, but we are excited that we have these enhanced incentives to now offer. So definitely want to be sharing that this year, a big focus of this year's campaign. So what to expect for this year's campaign? A lot of things are staying the same. One is that the campaign is going to be running again for 6 weeks from October through mid-November. We're going to be hosting Weatherization Wednesdays again. I'll share those topics in just a moment. There's going to be a continued focus on heat pumps. That combination of weatherization and heat pumps we know is really impactful. The ways for people to participate is going to be pretty much the same, and really the focus there is to make it as easy to participate as possible. We're not going to have really strict requirements of what makes you a partner participating, and allowing folks to just participate in the way that works best for them. Efficiency Vermont will also be carrying out, again, our statewide media coverage. And if folks are wondering kind of what the theme or the mascot is for this year, it's going to be the same as last year, and we're going to be featuring, I keep on doing it on the wrong side, but this lovely bear who someone commented and said, I'd love to have a poster of that in their office, so we can definitely make that happen. Some things that are going to be different, and a big thing I want to note is we just launched our new Button Up website with definitely improved user experience, I'd say, and also specifically for this group, we have a dedicated partner section, which is a lot easier to find and navigate, and also has much more robust resources. And we've also kind of put some infrastructure in place on the website to streamline participation and kind of make it a little bit more self-serve for folks. And as we mentioned, one of the goals is to really improve our efficiency in communication with partners. And so that's definitely, communicating earlier and more often. And I'll share a little bit more about how we intend to do that. Last year at this call too, folks asked if there was an option to start promoting earlier and get materials earlier, which we just didn't have the infrastructure necessarily in place last year to do that. But we know that folks have events before October that they want to be sharing Button Up materials at. So we're absolutely allowing people to do that this year, and I can share in a moment how to start doing that. So quick rundown of the timeline. We've kind of checked off the first two things. Materials can be ready to order this month. So if after this call you're really excited to order materials, you can do that. And then in September really is when we're hoping that folks will start preparing their event or how they're going to participate, and we'll be sending out materials throughout the month of September as well, although you can order them at any point throughout the campaign. And then October 2nd, I think that's a Monday, the official campaign launches, and that's really where Efficiency Vermont's kind of participation will really kick off with our weekly campaign communications and tips that we'll be sending out, the Weatherization Wednesdays, the statewide media coverage, and at the same time, all of you participating. And then at the campaign wraps, the middle of November, and shortly after, we'll send out a survey to get your feedback and start planning all over again. So how can all of you help? Really at its core is spreading the word, and that can look like a lot of different ways. We know that kind of the definition of a participating community has changed a lot over the years, especially for folks who have been doing this for a long time. And as I kind of alluded to in previous slides, we're just really trying to make participation easier and reduce those barriers. So, individuals and towns and organizations can really choose how they want to contribute to the effort this year, and really just participating as much or as little as you're able to. I listed some of the ideas we have for ways that partners can engage, but this is by no means an exhaustive list. And if you have more fun and creative ideas, please do those as well. But I think we've known that events have been really successful, whether that's hosting your own event. I know that there was a few regional events last year, like the one in Brownington that was featured in the video. So it could be something a regional or even just like a local event, and hosting or attending a farmer's market and bringing up button-up materials. Sharing via your outreach channels, that could be sharing things on social media, putting something in your local newspaper, or sharing something out in a monthly newsletter. We know a lot of folks have that. And again, if people don't have social media accounts, of course, Front Porch Forum or any other local listserv. And of course, attending and promoting the Weatherization Wednesdays. I'll share those topics, I think, after this slide. And just staying in contact with us, making sure that you're getting the Button Up emails and checking out all the resources that are available on the Button Up website. So I mentioned we have kind of increased our resources for partners this year and definitely made it more accessible on the website. So we're going to be sharing, again, campaign and media information throughout the campaign, one way through sending weekly campaign emails to partners, again, Weatherization Wednesdays. And then we have this dedicated partner section on the website that has partner toolbox with pretty much all the materials you'll need to participate. That includes printable materials, social media content, downloadable graphic assets, and whoever really wanted a poster of Above the Button Up Bear, that's where you can get that as well. One thing we're doing different this year that I'm really excited about is offering co-op advertising dollars. So partners are encouraged to apply for this funding. It's up to $100 to cover the cost of print or radio or digital ads or even event supplies. And that you can do on the website. And then obviously just more guidance on events and materials there, and then some frequently asked questions as well. And all of that can be found on the new Button Up website, which is the same exact URL as the old one. So you can go to that one and it's the new one. So how can you actually get materials? I wanted to spell this out because I know that in previous years, it was either coordinating with your regional planning commission or reaching out to your Efficiency Vermont community engagement manager. This year, we're really streamlining the process so you can just fill out a simple form on the website under the partner toolbox page and scroll down to the bottom and fill out your information, and we'll send those materials directly to the address that you choose. So very, very simple. For Weatherization Wednesdays this year, we're also doing something a little bit different. Last year, if you all attended those, we had four very distinct topics. This year, we've decided to take those two most popular topics, which was Weatherization 101 and Heat Pumps 101, and repeat them twice throughout the campaign so that more folks have a chance to attend them and especially get their questions answered live. I realize now that it says evening time, which is not very specific at all. So I'm going to launch a poll, and if people wouldn't mind putting in selecting the option of the time that you think would work best for you, so we can find a time that works best. Just gonna let that go for a little bit. They all look kind of even, which not great, but hopefully there's one clear specific time.
They'll be recorded though, yeah?
What will be? Oh, the webinars will be recorded and then also be streamed on Facebook live. We were just, we haven't done evening webinars for Weatherization Wednesdays in the past. We just wanted to see if folks had a time that worked best for them. So, okay, well, and when you feel like we've got majority of people responding, then we can end the poll and move forward. And we can follow up when we actually determine the exact time. I'm gonna move forward. Okay, sorry. Can people see the poll in the middle of their screen right now? Or can you see?
Yes, we
the
could.
slide? Can you still see it now?
Now you can just see the slide. The poll is
amazing. Okay. So I feel like we went through a lot of content, so I wanted to give folks some 6 simple steps they can do between now and the launch of the campaign in October. One, just making sure you're signed up to receive those button-up emails. I'll save you some time and just say anyone who registered for today's call will automatically be added to that list. But if there's other folks on your town energy committee or your organization or others that you think would like to be in the loop, make sure that they sign up for our emails. Like and follow Efficiency Vermont on Facebook. That's where all of our button-up content will be this year. And we want folks to be able to share that content to their own accounts. Mark your calendars for the Weatherization Wednesdays. Those are, again, every Wednesday throughout the month of October, alternating between a noon and evening time, which we will shortly determine that time and send out more information. Ordering your button-up materials, again, you can order them starting after this call if you want, all the way through the campaign. Please explore the new button-up website. I think it's really exciting. Of course, we'd love your feedback, but hopefully there's all the resources that you guys need to engage. And then just start planning your event or how you're going to participate. And if you are planning on hosting an event, once those details are finalized, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with us, there is another form on the website under partners and events where you can fill out all the information about your event so we can help promote it and share it on the website. Want to quickly note that a lot of folks might be like, there's something missing, which is the link to sign up to be a participating community. And that is because we are not doing that this year. We're not requiring folks to fill out another form. we'll know that people are participating if they do one of these actions, like ordering button-up materials or sharing your event on the website. So we don't need to make you guys fill out another form. If for some reason you're not getting materials, let's say you have some left over from last year, or you're not planning on hosting an event, but you want to share things via social media or other ways, and you want to be listed as a partner on the website, just shoot us an email. We're happy to do that, but we just didn't want to make that another form that you had to fill out. So. And finally, but importantly, just want to recognize all the partners of this campaign. A lot of folks are on this call, but all of our great utilities, our nonprofits, including VECAN and VNRC, are great co-hosts. I also just want to note window dressers here. I know a lot of folks are involved in window dressers campaigns, and just want to note that it's should be a complimentary campaign for folks that are already talking with people, in their homes. It's as simple as just maybe sharing some button-up content and letting people know that they might be able to take additional weatherization steps, including a comprehensive weatherization, maybe project down the road. So if it feels overwhelming to do both, it shouldn't. It should feel really complimentary. You're already talking with folks about being more comfortable in their homes. And our great community action agencies. And finally, last but not least, our regional planning commissions. Okay, went through a lot. I can stop sharing my screen and we can open it up to questions. I'll try to catch up in the chat. Did I stop sharing my screen? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Let me see if I can. Let's see. I saw some questions earlier about, are these slides going to be available? And this is recorded. Yes, we can follow up with both the slides and the recording. Allison, hopefully I answered your question about the website being available. It is available now, and it is updated. I don't know if there's any, Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's any other questions I'm missing so far.
I think I tried to respond
To most of them? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, feel free, folks, to put your questions in the chat as they come up.
See Linda's question?
Yeah, our materials from last year distinctly outdated. I think they're not outdated, although Anna, you have a better sense of if there's anything specific about home performance incentives on those, but I think
I don't believe anything is outdated. And they're available now, so you can request materials now.
But Linda, if you have like materials left over from last year, you're more than welcome to use those again. There isn't any updates to them. I don't know if that's your question, but yes, you can order them now and there is no changes. Sarah, let me read your question. Any progress on deciding what counts as weatherization? So we're really able to monitor percent weatherized year to year. Sarah, that's a good question about just like getting data to be able to see progress year to year. As you noted, there is some information that we share out to regional planning commissions in a yearly report that does talk about the EV efficiency Vermont programs, and that's our home performance with Energy Star. So that's town level data that you can see year to year how many people are taking advantage of that program. But to your point, is there any other thing about DIY programs or other programs that are not EV efficiency Vermont programs? We don't have that data to share, at least from our end. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. The survey, Sarah, is just a survey to partners about the campaign, what worked well, what didn't, what do you like to see for next year? And Sarah, if maybe you do want some of that data for your own town, it could be worth maybe thinking about creating a survey and sending that out to residents and seeing if you can gather if they've taken any steps from the campaign. Bree, that's a great question. Absolutely, there's a place for 3 thermal and low income customers. The programs, obviously, we want to be highlighting the weatherization assistance program, as well as programs like home performance for single family homeowners. I think in general, it's really just weatherization as a whole. Sorry, Jessica, let me read your question. Jessica, I don't know if I understand the question about, I've never gotten any efficiency Vermont from any of the towns I lived in or worked in from planning commissions. I'm not sure I understand the question. Seeing any other questions? Yeah, Joey, go for it. Yeah.
Oh, here Jessica's clarifying. I don't get the resources passed through. I'm wondering if you send them to zoning administrators who often work with.
Sorry, you cut out there, Joey. Oh, you're just reading the question for me. That's a good point. I don't think we've done that in the past, but absolutely. I mean, we want to be able to get this into as many people as possible. And if that's going through zoning administrators, then yes. I don't know how Efficiency Vermont does that specifically, but Joey, what you're going to say though?
I actually have 2 questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Being, I think a lot of us are clearly thinking about the flooding and recovery. And I'm just wondering if at some point on the FAQ, or if there's some like 1-page, when Efficiency Vermont rolls out with their $10 million program, would there be some, sort of promotional piece or summary of the button up campaign and how people can avail themselves of those incentives to rebuild and recover in this moment, sort of connect the the button up campaign with that new program. I'm imagining a lot of these partners and energy committees are connecting with their community members who are in a very challenging moment. So to the degree we can make it easy to make all these things.
Yeah, that's a good point, Joey. I think once those programs are rolled out, we'll be able to add that to the button up, at least website, maybe not the static materials, but definitely want to make sure that that's being presented to whoever is, working with button up. So yes, I think if anything's happening on the Efficiency Vermont page, we'll make sure to also put it on the button up page so that people are seeing those updates there as well.
And then my other question is really quickly, is there a way if people have other ideas to email you? I think Anna maybe dropped an email in the chat. Like if there are other things or opportunities that partners see or anyone on this webinar sees, the sky's not necessarily the limit, but if people have good ideas to help make this a successful campaign, I think we'd welcome those.
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely email the button up email address. I'm wondering how we can get that out to other folks. I know we'll be sending those kind of weekly tips, so maybe we can include in there some creative ideas that other folks are doing to kind of spark inspiration. And so definitely share that with us via email. Matthew says a 1-page summary is free, would be easy to understand. If that resource becomes available, we'll definitely share that. Linda says another group of partners could be town historical societies. The Norwich Historical Society reached out to our energy committee to try to share info about energy improvements for historic homes. Richard, that's a good question. That might be something you could investigate with your utility or town. Those bill stuffers can be really effective because it goes out to everyone in the town. So that's something you could maybe explore. Will do. Awesome.
This is just my comment.
Okay. Love it. Oh, it was just the host and panelists. So do you want me to read it out, Joey, so people can see it?
Oh, sure. I just was saying, you know, I know this campaign largely focuses on the benefits of weatherization for cutting costs largely in the winter. You know, Bubs has this cute scarf on, but it's been scorching hot and muggy, you know, so I think I just highlighting the benefits of weatherization as we talk about keeping our homes cooler in a weatherized home, you know, opening the windows at night, closing them in the morning. And it's remarkable how much cooler that the homes and buildings can stay. So in this warmer, weirding world, that's just another important way to case make, I think, for all the benefits weatherization provides.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're talking about weatherizing, and we're talking about button up right now in August. And although we've had a very unusual summer, it does feel really relevant to this time of year as well. Interesting idea there, Richard.
Aren't they all naked?
Yeah, besides the scarf, I guess they are.
Maybe
Someone
Bubs can have a fan.
That would be pretty entertaining. That reminds me, someone last year asked if we had a bear suit that we could loan out for events, and I had never thought of that before. We haven't gotten to that, but maybe that's a thing down the line, future campaign. Just seeing some comments. Jessica says, love it. All right, well, I'm not seeing too many more questions, but I definitely want to leave time if folks do have more questions. Also don't want to make you stay if there's nothing else. Oh, we got Sarah with another comment. I can read out your comment. The Heartland Energy Committee did try to collect data for Heartland a year ago, a large amount of work with very low response, so the meaning of the data is not totally clear. One conclusion is that more homes in Heartland are weatherized to some extent than the data on EAN dashboard. Also, of course, the data only looked at one point in time. The challenge is to know if we have made progress in the past year. Yeah, Sarah, we can save the chat as well. Yeah, I think it's really challenging to just determine the results of a campaign like this. I know, you know, I said we do that RPC report, but we also have to be really careful about sharing information just because of our customer protection requirements. So it's been hard for us to be able to collect data specifically on this campaign and share it out. So we welcome ideas if there's some way that we can support it, or we can think of some creative idea for towns to do themselves to get that information. We'd be happy to explore that, but we know it's been a challenge in the past and we haven't quite figured out exactly how to do that. Great, well, hopefully I answered everyone's questions. Linda asks, are you able to track whether virtual home energy visits result in follow-up work? That's a great question, Linda. I actually don't know if we track that, if we're able to see that. I don't know how we'd be able to share that out, but that I might be able to follow up with you, Linda, if we have an answer for that. Because I know we look at those individually, like how many virtual home energy visit signups there were, and also how many whether comprehensive projects have been done. And I also wonder the timing of that as well, like when folks do a virtual home energy visit, how soon after are they doing that weatherization work? Yes, and the hope is that they will. Joey, I don't know if you have any thoughts about data.
I think it's a really important question, Sarah, and it is indeed challenging. I think there will be more opportunities coming up to get more granular data than we've had because of the work required by the Climate Council, the Climate Action Plan, the life cycle greenhouse gas emissions assessment getting underway. So I think we track what we can through, home performance, and it's really hard. It's a really important point, Sarah. I guess one of the ways maybe that if we do have some thermal performance standard or some other policy in place that will help us track reductions of carbon pollution in the thermal sector, that we'll at least be able to see how much the pie is shrinking. But no, I don't really have a good answer to your good question. Bekah, can you share the webinar tomorrow again? So that if people can make it at noon, if they can't, they could maybe register and review. I just think the flood recovery component of this, and this will be a really important webinar that you're hosting. So thanks.
Yes, I just put the link to register there. And again, it also will be recorded. So if you can't make it at 5, there will be a recording sent out afterwards. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in, and I don't need to take an extra 7 minutes of your day. But if you do have questions, later, feel free to email the button up email or myself, and I'm happy to get those answers. And yeah, please join the webinar tomorrow, and make sure you're signed up for our button up email so we can send information leading up to the campaign and during the campaign. Joey, any final words?
No, just deep appreciation for this campaign for all of you, and look forward to finding ways to work together on this effort and beyond. So enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. And thanks so much for taking time. And thanks to Bekah and the EVT crew for all you do.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.